Yeah.
Guys, today we're talking about spiritual intimacy. And
Spiritual
if you don't know what it
intimacy.
is, stay tuned because you will find out today. Babe, do you want to show them our paintings first?
Yes. Yesterday, we went out on a date. Okay, this is sad, but it's awesome for us because it's the only thing we can do in this quarantine relationship. So, I organized for us to do some painting together. Okay, so Atida is the painter. Okay, she's an amazing painter.
I am
So,
not, guys.
I'm
not.
The last time I was there, she taught me a few things about painting, and it was more of a student and teacher, student and master kind of competition. So, are you ready to show off what we did?
You're showing off yours. Show off yours first, baby.
Okay, I'll show off mine. This is what I did. Okay, you guys ready? I'm so excited because it's amazing. Okay, there you go. This is what I painted. Okay, with my own hands. Look at that. Okay. Baby, show yours. Show yours.
Okay, guys, I'm just gonna, give a quick disclaimer. I am not that good at painting.
She is amazing. She's just being humble.
No, babe, stop talking me up. People are gonna wait for Picasso or see like a Mona Lisa out here, but it looks like a 2-year-old painted mine. Yours is even better than my babe.
Come on, let me see. Let us see. See how awesome that is. It's like, guys, so detailed.
Don't even lie.
Baby, zoom into like your little pebble thingies. Look at how accurate that is. No, like the little pebble thingies.
No, I don't want to zoom in. Nobody needs to see. No, it's not.
Baby, you did a great job. But okay. So basically, the goal with this thing was for us to paint how we view our relationship, and so that's what she painted. So I tried to guess what her story was. So baby, tell us about why you painted that.
Okay, so like you said, we're to paint something that represented our relationship. So I drew a flower. We both like yellow, so it's a yellow flower. It was supposed to be all yellow, but I went a bit crazy with the brown. So it's a yellow flower, and then there's like these dead pebbles that are falling off the flower. That's just like to represent our past and how we're letting go of our past. Yes. And in the middle, there's like new, flowers coming through. That's like our future. And slowly, these pebbles obviously will die over time. And we're letting go of the past and looking to the future. And the background is like blackish to show that in times of darkness, we glow.
We still glow.
And these are the dead pebbles on the floor that we're letting go. So,
letting go.
Guys, I should be a professional. Like, I did English.
You should, baby. You're amazing.
This is amazing.
Like, you should showcase the other paintings you've done. She's so good. And this is mine.
Yours is amazing.
So, like, I'll explain to you why I painted this. So basically, this is a boat. So most of you guys should know that by now. It looks like a boat.
It is.
And so this boat represents us, that we are in the same boat. No pun intended. And even though we're in the boat, we're invisible. Okay, this is corny, but we're invisible because we what's the word, baby? We cancel each other out. 1 + 1 equals nothing. Wait, no, one, I don't even know. But like 1 plus, I don't know. You guys get what I mean? It's like
quick maths.
You come together, you cancel each other out. Anyways, but we're just invisible. We're there. We're in the boat, but we're invisible. And the enemy can't attack us because we're, Anyways, so this is live. The sea. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a bit, crazy. But in all the craziness of it all, we look up there, and what's up there is just colors and colorful. This was supposed to be a purple. This was supposed to be a green, but I failed. No, not green, pink, but I failed. But this we're supposed in the midst of all of this crazy stuff, supposed to look up, and that's where everything is beautiful. This is not beautiful, but I was supposed to, you know, what it was supposed to be beautiful. So there you go. That's my painting.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes, I am so
This should
proud
be in
of
a museum. You guys did not come to watch us, you know, talk about our painting, so we'll get straight into it. Okay, so today we're talking about spiritual intimacy. So we'll just start off by discussing what is spiritual intimacy. We've heard of emotional, we've heard of physical, babe. What's spiritual intimacy? The definition that I found about spiritual intimacy is opening up your heart to each other as you would open your heart to the Lord. Does that make sense? Is that English for people out there? But basically, it's opening up your heart to the other person as you would with God.
Mm-hmm.
So, babe, what's a healthy amount of spiritual intimacy in a relationship?
I mean, I'll say this before we go on. It's like you guys know we spoke about physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, and most of it has been talking about boundaries. The reason why there's boundaries to it, whether it's physical, emotional, and spiritual, is because you're not married yet. And usually the reason why this conversation is important is because there is such thing as actually going too far. And spiritual intimacy is one of those things that, oh yeah, since it's spiritual, there's no such thing as how far is too far. You know, because it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with spiritual intimacy, you know, coming together, spiritually reading the word together, praying together, you know, spending time with God together, worshiping together, you know. It seems like there's nothing wrong with it. And we're literally coming here to say there is a line and you can't cross it.
And that line lies in, of course, baby, you're going to expurgate later. That line lies when you are dependent on the other person for your spiritual growth. What do I mean? I'm a beautiful, awesome girl.
You are.
I'm dating a minister. So it's very easy for me to be like, you know what, I'm dating a pastor, so I'm definitely going to heaven. Bye.
Yeah. It's like my relationship with God is going to be so great because
it's going to be
dating
amazing. We're going to be in his presence every single day because my boyfriend is a pastor. I'm not going to lie, guys, I have been flaunting this around, so, but because I have someone who the world deems as a spiritual, highly spiritual person, it's very easy for me to just like throw it to the side and be like, I'm with the pastor, so my life is gonna be perfect, and you know, my relationship with God is gonna be amazing. Now, I've gone too far. I've already gone too far, because one thing I have understood and still know is that even though I'm in a relationship with someone, doesn't mean I should abandon my own spiritual and individual walk with my Lord just because my man has a relationship with God. Baby, you want to add in?
Yeah, so like, remember last week we talked about emotional boundaries or whatever, intimacy. And we said that just because you're dating, it does not mean that you're supposed to leave your friends. You know, it's the same thing on the spiritual side. Before you met the dude, you had a relationship with God.
Come on now.
Before you met the girl, you had a relationship, a personal relationship with God. It was just you and God. And where we get it all wrong is that we think that just because we're in a relationship now, you know, the only way that I can show him that I love him is to actually combine myself with him in this walk with God. So now you leave your own relationship with God and you go and partner with him, and you say that you're still working with God. And I think that's where it's actually dangerous, because, you know, you're actually just relying on your spiritual walk, on your relationship. So what's going to happen when you break up?
Come on now.
So we need to understand that before you are actually in a relationship, you are an individual who has a relationship with God.
Exactly.
And yeah, like when we were researching about this, baby, you told me something that made me rethink this whole thing, is that spiritual intimacy is only actually meant for married couples. Expagorate on that, my baby.
Oh, thank you, Papa. Thank you, Papa. Oh, I'm going to expagorate. Spiritual intimacy is achieved at the altar. That's literally making a covenant with God and the person, your boyfriend, your fiance, or whoever they are. That's when spiritual intimacy is. Because what you're doing now is binding the three of you and me and David and God, together, to now say we will now walk together, because God is spirit. So you are now saying my soul, her soul, and God is going to be in this covenant together. So the only time spiritual intimacy should occur is at the altar. But another way that spiritual intimacy happens prematurely is during sex. I don't want to talk about sex again. I will get...
Baby, it's my favorite topic. Anyway, go on.
Another way you can have spiritual intimacy is through sex. As you've seen in our previous talks, we spoke about how there is a spiritual energy exchange, spiritual energy exchange that occurs. Come on now. I said what I said. That occurs when you have sex. So the only time, that's why God kept sex in marriage, because in sex, you strengthen that spiritual bond that you should only have with that person who you're going to be with forever. I need to read my notes before I forget what I'm saying. Then please.
Go on. Yeah, and it shook me, because I never really thought about it that way. The whole idea of spiritual intimacy only being for a married couple, and it's actually 100% right, because that's the only time where you're actually supposed to actually bond in depth, because that's what you need. That intimacy is what you need to actually be with this person for better or for worse. But now, where everything is all messed up in this generation is that we think, first of all, that we have all the freedom to do whatever we want. So young people are having sex before marriage. Young people are sharing things, deep things prematurely. And so young people are going to depth when it comes to the, spiritual bonding, where it becomes really, really dangerous. And so the question is, baby, when is it too far? How far is too far when it comes to spiritual intimacy? Because, of course, even though spiritual intimacy is for a married couple, there still needs to be a certain degree of some sort of spiritual bond between you two.
I agree. They should be a certain level, but it shouldn't be too high. I like what my brother said, is saying have a relationship with God before you have a relationship with anyone else. I completely agree that. Not only that, but do you have to maintain it on an individual basis? How far is too far? Too far, like I said, is depending on the other person for spiritual growth. So one thing that me and David, I'm throwing this relationship underneath the bus, because we need you guys to understand that we are not perfect. We are not we are not, the model relationships. No. One thing I noticed with David is that we started doing something called Bible study. You might think this is corny, this is cheesy, but to me, when I came up with it, it was like the best idea ever. So basically, me and David, we picked out some nights during the week. It could be any night that we read the Bible together. We come up with an interpretation, etc. Beforehand, I was doing my own Bible study, not as frequently, but I was doing it on my own. So now I was like, wait, me and David are already doing it on a Tuesday and Thursday. So why should I do it? Because we're going to do it anyway. So I started relying on our sessions. I've already gone too far. Just me relying on our sessions just to build my own and personal growth. I have already stepped the line and gone too far. Because the moment I am no longer, willingly doing it by myself, I am losing connection. I'm becoming more disconnected to God. I'm no longer focusing on Him. It's more like, oh yeah, I'll go this way so I can get to Him. Does that make sense? I'm taking a detour when I shouldn't. When the line is supposed to be just a straight road, I've decided to go, instead of going through Jesus to God, I'm going through David, then to Jesus, then to God.
Jesus is the only way to the Father, not your boyfriend.
Come on now. Or your girlfriend. Come on now.
You hear that?
Your girlfriend is not going to bring you to the Lord. Come on.
Amen.
So I went too far by relying on those little talks and being like, you know what? I'm going to be fine. We're going to have Bible study on Tuesday, so I don't have to read my Bible tonight. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed my Bible study that we had. I got something out of it. I learned from it, which is amazing. But if you step back and you kind of examine your own relationship now, with David put aside, it's kind of like, I haven't spoken to God in a hot minute. Like, I have not spoken to Him at all, unless I'm with David. Now, that dependency is dangerous. Now, that dependency is too far. Dave, answer your question.
Remember the day that I actually spoke to you about this, where I said, hey babe, look, I think we were like, for me, like I was relying on our time together with God than my own time with God. It's like I felt like I wasn't having my own personal relationship with God because both of us were doing great. We're doing Bible studies, we're praying together, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, both of you guys praying together and reading the Bible together kind of builds your individual growth. But it's a very, what can I say? It's a very slow growth. It's not as much as you and God alone. You get what I mean? There's a difference between me spending time with God than both of us. The reason why I say it's slower is because sometimes when we're praying together, I can choose to slack off and not pray as much because, she's praying. She's praying and I'm just mumbling words and yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. And you're like going on
You've done that. You've done that.
I have done that so many times.
I know. Guys, we'll be praying and I'll be speaking in tongues.
She's speaking in tongues and she's talking, praying, and I'm just like,
yes, Lord.
Yes,
Thank you,
Lord.
Father.
Yes, Lord.
Yes.
I mean, like, that alone is not going to grow my relationship with God.